Damn, man. Instagram ended that very abruptly. That was not a usual ending either. But it's no surprise. That's how these guys act out here. Let me get my friends back. We had a lot of great people in that discussion. I gotta make sure I get my invites back out to all of them. Instagram abruptly ended that insightful live. No surprise. Who else I got to invite?
Yo.
Yo, Corey, thanks for coming back, bro. They ended it randomly. Big surprise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes
man. Any thoughts?
there's some
No, go ahead.
buzzwords that you say that get you in trouble sometimes.
Well, if you were listening until the end, I kind of went in pretty egregiously telling the FBI to suck my dick and stuff. So yeah, yeah, that could happen. I'm not surprised. I should have probably reined that in a little
You
bit.
do it.
Okay, I think we're getting people back. Yeah, yeah. Trey's coming back. What's up, everybody? Sorry, me saying to the FBI that put it on the record to suck my dick might have got them annoyed on that last live, and that's why I got shut down. So, put this on the record, FBI. I didn't mean that. I was just kidding.
My
What's up, Trey?
handler's
Welcome
probably
back, bro.
my handler's probably watching.
Good. Well, tell him to take a picture. It'll last longer.
Man.
Hey,
Yeah.
Trey, this is Corey. Corey, this is Trey. You guys
What
thought
up?
that you could talk, sir.
Yo, Corey. I was agreeing with a lot of the things you were saying. I actually agree with everything you said, for real. But I just think that any form of government is going to collapse on itself because of the human
You're
need for greed and power.
sorry, Trey. I wanted to ask you a direct question.
Hmm.
Um, so you say both communism and capitalism take advantage of, I think you used the word consumer.
No, only capitalism does that.
Yeah.
Capitalism takes advantage of people for profit.
Okay.
Communism
So
takes advantage of profit for people.
okay. So regardless, they're taking advantage of the people, right? But okay. So you're saying they take advantage of the people, but then you just said the best time in civilization would be before these words were came into effect. So I'm trying to figure out they weren't taking advantage of people in those times because all
No.
civilizations were built on
I'm
slavery.
glad you asked that, Rico. Way to bring it back on track. Trey, can you complete like your governance or whatever, like your vision from back then? Because I don't think you got to finish that.
Yeah. So basically, back what if you know nature, no one can take advantage of you. The reason why they took advantage of the people who are here is because the first thing they did was cut off our food source. They killed all the buffalo and set all the fields on fire so that they can. You would have to sustain yourself from imports, and they
Until what,
imported.
Okay,
Trey? CORN, right, bro? I learned this from you.
but
Yeah,
but
they
killing the
burned
buffalo
corn.
wasn't done on
They
purpose.
But
You
isn't
said
that how
what?
they made corn? They ended up making corn, and that made them able to like be like more than just hunter gatherers. You were saying because they were
Yeah,
desperate for
well, they
food, so they invented
discovered corn.
corn.
According to them, God gave them corn. They didn't figure it out.
That's right.
Like God
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
gave it to them. But
Wow.
but yeah, I'm talking about the way that they were living before. Just know this. People didn't used to sleep in houses. You know, we are totally domesticated. We're not even considered like in my eyes, we're not wild human. We're not humans. We're something else. It's like a dog is not a wolf. You know, a
That's
dog is
deep,
a
man.
domesticated thing.
Um, Trey, how far back are you going? Because there's been houses for quite some time now.
No, the first houses came in like late 1700s.
Do not
And
do
even if
that.
there were
That's
outliers way before that, that doesn't mean that most people were doing it in the house. That's probably like just randoms. Because I think
okay.
Trey's right. Like by nature's standard, there wouldn't be houses. That's a very hard thing to pull off at any time, really, in history.
I understand that it's hard, but it was very common. In what year did he just say 1700? Come on, think about this one,
Oh,
please.
1700. Sure, there'd be
No.
more.
Maybe
And
There'd be
I'm talking
more.
about modern
maybe
houses. Look, modern
maybe
housing
they're not
started in the
okay. So see,
1700s. Before then, it was
exactly
like
what he's
teepees
talking
and
about.
shit.
No,
Right,
no. When you say
Before
modern
then, you was
houses,
in a
Trey,
hut or a shack.
right.
no,
There's no
no, Trey.
heating. There's no central air. No plumbing.
Exactly. You're not in a
Sorry,
home, bro.
Right.
sorry. Just let me jump in quick. When you say modern home, that's exactly what you mean. You mean the structure, the way we build it today. We got
Yeah, that's why we're
carpenters. We
No, it's
domesticated
got
not
for
only
you.
the
we got
structure
brick.
that makes it a home. It's the
No,
fact
no,
that
no,
you can stay in there all day and you don't have to go nowhere. But you couldn't do that
no,
back in
Trey.
the day because it was too hot or too cold. There was no
Trey.
temperature control. There was no this, bro.
There
Listen,
was houses. They just weren't. They didn't have a structure the way we have it. They didn't have
no.
basements and
All
all
right,
this
okay.
shit.
Right,
We had
right. But I think
houses,
we're
bro.
splitting hairs here. You're both right, but I think Trey's point is like
I mean, if I
we weren't
dig a hole and
domesticated.
go under the ground, that's a house.
We weren't shielded from the elements like we are now, where you can literally avoid nature and being outside and shit.
Yeah, you
It's
literally don't even have to have a connection with nature and you can live your whole entire life.
many people don't. Many people are really, really starving for that.
Yeah, facts. And
That's a
it's
great
the
point, Trey.
way,
I love that, man.
yo, it's the way of our existence. It's through the herbs and the trees and the ground and stuff like that. And we think the way of our existence is delivering Amazon packages for a living and shit like that. And
Damn.
this is
Yeah,
why
yeah.
we will forever be dependent. See, a person living in nature is not dependent on anything but God. A person living in a man's world will always be dependent on a man.
So,
And
bro,
this is
was this
why
Babylonian
communism,
slave driving? Was this done to us, or was this just the inherent nature of humans that stumbled into this dumb mistake? It sounds to me like you're suggesting that like people put this unnatural state of existence onto us to be able to harness us contained and enslaved, more or less. I would imagine
no, it developed
something like that.
naturally because of the concept of ownership.
Huh?
Okay, I just don't want to go away from because I did. You said something earlier, and I did ask you a question. I feel like you walked away from my question just now.
Well, just to be clear,
So
what was the question?
you said that communism and capitalism both take advantage of the people, but then when you were asked what were the solutions or the best time, you said before those words had come into effect. My question was, so in that time period before capitalism and communism what came into effect, are you saying that the people were not being taken advantage of? And I would like you to explain what was so good about that time.
Okay, I'll explain. See, with any form of government, you have to have dependents. And if you don't have dependents, then you don't have a government. And so, if you wanted a government right now, all you would have to do is create dependence somehow. Go and burn somebody's house down and do some crazy shit. And now you got people dependent on you. And now you can tell them how to behave. The government governs your behavior. You see? And if you're living amongst nature that doesn't govern your behavior, it governs your reality, your physical reality, not your behavior. You will develop into what you were naturally supposed to develop into. But see, in living in a created man's world, you develop into whatever the man wants you to develop into. I'm hoping I'm making sense right now.
And what is the man
Um,
exactly? Is that like an archetype,
Not to
or is
me
that
right
some
now.
specific people?
the man is the government. The man is the government. Whatever
And is
government
that
you're
just?
in, you're gonna do you're gonna behave in the realm or in the bounds of how they want you to behave.
And
You're
you're saying
not
the only
gonna go
solution to that is
outside
to
of
have no government, no laws, right?
yeah,
Nature's law.
laws and government are inherent in human beings. You don't need that from outside of you.
But okay, I don't know. Okay, what time period are you speaking on? Because I'm just a little confused.
Okay.
Well, just hypothetically, follow
Let's
like
say
it's just the law of nature, you know?
let's say this is the year 1300. Let's talk about that.
Okay, and you're saying right now that's the best time period according to where what governments are concerned. That's what you're saying right now.
Yeah, there was no government in America in the 1300s.
Are you so wait, what? So now you're wait. Are you saying whatever government there was or wasn't in America, that's the best form of government that you're trying to explain to me now?
No. No government is the best form of government. Is what I'm saying.
He's saying that's the time period where there was no government.
But here's the problem with that
Like
is that in a
he's
developed world, like
proposing.
in a developed world, you have to have some form of infrastructure, and that's why socialist governments are more adhered to what people claim is higher taxes. because in governments throughout Eastern Europe and the Eastern world in general, you see them pay high taxes, and you see that the wealthiest among their populations paying 90% a 90% tax rate, and their infrastructure resembles what they pay in taxes. Here, you pay so much in taxes, and your infrastructure is shit. You have potholes, you have shitty education, you have shitty VA, your veterans hospitals, your everything publicly funded is shit, but you pay so much in taxes. That's because your money is going to militarizing the police, funding wars, funding foreign coups and foreign governments, overthrowing communist and socialist governments where there are people trying
starting
to
drug freaking pandemic
You're
in
right,
our
but
own
I don't think
country.
it started far back enough.
Drug spread drugs in our own
Can I
country.
can I give you a
You're right, but hey,
perspective on that really
Corey,
quick?
I want to say this. Corey is absolutely right, but I don't think you took it back far enough.
I mean, the Magna Carta was 1215. So there was an establishment of some form of government even
Over
before
in the
1300.
Eastern Hemisphere.
Yeah. Well, in the Eastern Hemisphere, I mean, you had dynasties, you had monarchies,
Yeah,
you
you,
had.
you have to
Yeah, but
understand,
I'm saying
Trey.
in the Western
Everything is a
Hemisphere, you
form
had
of
nothing.
government.
You didn't have none of that.
Well, he's speaking of the
Even
Western
an
though.
empire is a form of government, right?
Well, I mean,
Everything
if
is a
you want to go
form
back
of
to like
government.
when we talk about Native Americans, like their tribes are about as socialist as it got. Like they had a bartering system that resembles socialism because the common people who were
Nope.
taking care of the
That's what
crops.
they taught
They,
us.
there
They
was
taught
no
us that Native Americans bartered.
institutionalized system within tribes or Native American tribes or
The first time Native
any.
Americans bartered is when they came here.
No,
Because,
don't do that. What do
listen,
you
let me tell you
mean?
something. Listen, just listen to me real quick. People who depend on nature only for their survival, they don't have to barter for anything.
Yes, they do, because where you choose to live does not have everything you need. So you're going to need to barter with other
Okay,
people to survive.
let's talk about it then. What are the things that you need? Let's shoot, Rico.
Holy gosh.
Let's go.
Okay,
What are the
so
things? It's only three. It's only three. Let's
okay,
go.
so along the line, you're gonna need medicines. You're gonna have to build homes.
That's
You're gonna
nature,
have. You're
bro.
gonna.
Listen,
Okay, okay.
medicine is
Nature,
nature. Yes,
Trey.
all
Nature
those
isn't the
pills, they
same.
come from a plant.
Trade nature isn't the same everywhere, which is the reason why you would need to barter. There's a reason why we have a trade system that's almost the exact same as today
That's
as it has
only
been
if
for a
you
couple
lived
hundred
in
years.
one place. If you lived everywhere and traveled throughout the year, all day, every day, that's what's your lifestyle. You went to
Are
Florida
you
today
talking,
and
Trey? Are you
Virginia
talking
tomorrow
individually?
and California the next day and Arizona the next day. You in different places every day a
The
week.
next day. Okay, but Trey, are you talking individually? Because how much people are really doing that? It wasn't a
The
vast
men,
majority.
listen,
Mm.
the women and the children, they made camp. They settled at a camp
I think you're
wherever the
mistaking
men went.
hunting. I think you're mistaking hunting
Oh my
for
God.
bartering, right? Because
No, no.
hunting isn't gonna get you spices and medicines and
Yeah, okay. Let's talk about that though. Let's talk about this, right? Where do spices come from? Go.
bro, it depends on what time we're talking about. Because
No,
if we
it
want to go
comes
to
Being
from
medieval
India.
collected,
time, we
being
can say
collected
Listen,
somewhere.
listen. It comes from India. Okay.
yeah,
Now
yes,
this
in a
is
certain
grown
time
everywhere,
period.
but we
Today
know
it
that
doesn't exactly.
spices, the original bartering system and for spices and all that comes from India. Tell me, when did people from India meet people from over here to trade spices?
What? I'm not understanding, but bro, people traveled. I really don't understand your question.
I
People
know
traveled.
people travel, but I'm trying to get you to see that they traveled with things from over here and brought them over there. They
That's
didn't
the same.
barter.
They still.
He's,
I'm not. I'm confused. I'm confused. Can you explain that?
What do you need to barter for, Rico, if
It
all your
sounds like
needs are
you're
met?
disagreeing with me, even though you're still saying they kind of bartered because they brought stuff with them and came back with it. It's the same thing. I'm not. I'm
No,
confused where you're going
I'm
with that.
talking about when they travel for good. They didn't bring anything back. Listen, bro. It's because I know the history and you don't quite know it like I know it. So when I say certain things, it might.
That
they
can't
weren't
be an
taking anything. They were
excuse.
just selling, basically.
No, they wasn't selling anything. It wasn't nothing to buy. It wasn't no money. No, it wasn't.
Trey,
You're
Yes,
just
correct
you
me.
can
saying that
survive
men are
without trading
surviving
with
off the
people.
land.
Listen,
I get
Trey,
you
men
can
survived off the
survive
land.
without trading with people, bro. And that's what we did.
so I could go on your land and stake your cattle? Like, what are you talking about, Trey?
No, he's
Yeah.
saying that you could the nature provided for us our basic needs in such a way that you didn't have to rely on trading with anybody to survive back then when we were accustomed to it. But now we all
Exactly.
became accustomed to commerce
Because we don't know
or
nature. If we knew
and yeah,
nature,
now
we
it's
wouldn't have
taking
to
us out of
trade.
nature. He's saying, yeah, I'm
I'll,
following you, Trey. That's deep.
if that's not true though, because like you don't just grow up and own a cattle. You like it doesn't happen that way, right?
Well, you
Like you
inherit
have
it from your family. Your family would
No,
you,
wait. No,
there's
that
impoverished
is
people that
no.
don't
Y'all
inherit
wrong. Y'all are not
cattle.
thinking back far enough. Y'all thinking back to the Eastern Hemisphere. Think back to the Western Hemisphere where there's no concept of ownership.
There is a concept of ownership. It may not be on
No, it's
paper.
not,
Trey, you're
Rico. Do
just
your
saying
reading.
things.
Do your reading, bro. Do
You're
your reading. Do the
You guys
due
are making me laugh.
diligence, bro.
Trey, if somebody owns something and you go and you take it, like you can't.
He's saying nobody can
Bro,
own anything though. To begin
bro,
with,
you're
nobody
not
can own something.
understanding me, bro. There was no concept of that. That's, ownership is a concept because it's not real in nature. You
If you
really
built
don't
a
own
house,
the
I
shirt
don't
on your
care
back.
what you say, Trey. It's your house. Trey, stop saying what you're saying, please. You're misleading people, bro.
Well, no,
I'm
I
not
think
misleading
there's a
nobody.
fair
You're
question to be
basically
asked
saying,
about that. What makes it Trey's house?
okay, that's semantics, but listen to what he's
No, it's
really
not.
saying.
No, that's really not.
Listen to what Trey's saying, okay? I can build a farm, okay? I can build a farm for me and my family to thrive off of, okay? And he can just be passing through. And because he says I don't have ownership in the way he says I should have ownership, he should be allowed to have any
He's saying
share
he
of
wouldn't say that
anything.
because nobody should have ownership in his system. He wouldn't do that because he
That's
doesn't believe in
that's
ownership.
that's my point. So what I'm saying is, if you let me finish, he's saying he can come by because I don't own ownership in the way he wants me to own ownership. He can have anything from my fruits of my labor for free.
I don't
Yeah.
think that's what he's saying.
That is exactly
No,
what he's
no.
saying.
Listen. Hear me out.
Exactly what he's saying.
First of all, listen. First of all, a way of life is not labor. And I'll give you an example. If you smoke
No, okay,
weed,
no, hold on. Trey,
are
that's
you
not
not
what I
trying to,
meant.
you're not trying
I'm
to,
saying
okay,
that's not,
go
but
ahead.
you're using the word labor. When I said fruits of my labor, I'm basically telling you the things that I worked on. You're trying to help yourself for free. That was my point.
Yeah, but that's only if it's considered work, right?
What? Okay.
What if you was just smoking weed? Is it considered work?
Trey, dog, okay, you're playing
Interesting.
semantics with me.
No, I'm
No,
not
really,
playing
I get where
semantics.
he's
I'm trying to
going with
get you to
this.
see things that you don't know because you're not well read on this subject, and I am.
I'm not well read on what, Trey. You don't sound smart.
Native
Stop trying to make
American
me sound
life.
dumb.
You're not well read on Native American life.
Oh God.
Are you, Rico?
Well,
What have you
hear him
read?
out,
Hold
Trey.
on.
Bring us up to speed on
Rico,
this.
what have you read, bro? What have you read?
Trey, the question was, how is it not taking advantage of people in the time period that you gave us? Can you give us that answer?
Yes, because there is
Because now
no
we're stuck in
government, there is no
semantics.
power structure to take advantage of someone.
Okay,
There's
but
no initiative, or there's no what's the word? Not initiative. What's the word I'm looking for? Like
Incentive.
a reward. Yeah, there's no incentive for getting over on somebody. Here, you have all the incentive in the world to take advantage of the next person. Do you understand that?
And I feel like that's where me and you
I
disagree
would
as far as
disagree.
like ownership, because I believe in collective ownership, as you might not believe in any ownership of anything. I believe that the collective ownership and the collective bargaining within, because here's the thing, the raw materials of everything, all of the materials that is used to create whatever we
784
have,
Moses.
whether it's cars, whether it's clothes, whether it's buildings, whether it's whatever, all of those raw materials exist without a government structure. So when it boils down to the basics of government, it boils down to who controls the means of production within that system of government, because there's obviously going to have to be labor to be done and productivity and production that has to be done. Those are the two things that make a government system in general. So
But that's
as
only when you have
I hear,
dependence, right? Right? Because in order to
yeah,
have a
I
government,
mean,
you need to have dependence. Therefore, you have to
yeah.
produce for the dependents to be the beneficiaries of the production. without
Yo,
doing anything.
Trey, your
You
theory is
don't,
starting to like flesh out to me, man. I see where you're going with all this, man.
but
You
you
see what I'm
don't
saying?
have,
He
you
said
don't have to
it
have
sounds like
dependence.
and tell me if I'm wrong, but do you subscribe to the anprim philosophy, the anarcho primitive philosophy?
I don't even know what that is.
Okay, I mean, because I have a lot of anprim. There's a lot of anprim people within Antifa movements who really do like heavy like animal rights activism, environmental rights activism, climate activism, like very heavy shit. I'm not talking about just holding signs at the local summit. Like I'm talking about actual putting in some fucking head. Like I'm talking about. I don't know if you ever heard of Weather Underground, but look up Weather Underground. That's
Okay.
that's some heavy left wing like anarcho primitive like no government structure, no ownership,
No,
and
no.
just
Listen, I want to
basically
say
I
this.
go
I
have a
want
back.
y'all to
question. I
know
have a question for you guys.
the government structure
Um,
is natural, bro. It is naturally happening inside of us, so it happens naturally. It's not something that we need to configure and structure.
no, okay, but let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys think a dictatorship is a form of government?
You said what?
Is a dictatorship a form of government?
Yeah,
Yes, it is.
Okay, so then,
authoritarian. Yeah,
but Trey, you keep saying governments have to have a dependent. There's no dependence in a dictatorship.
Yes, there are. Everyone
Okay,
else.
I would differ. I would differ there, so for sure, 1,000%.
Wait. So you don't think there is any dependence in a dictatorship?
A dependent would be benefiting or so, like
Yeah,
being taken care of in some
a
type of way.
dependent is a peasant. You know what a peasant is?
A dependent is not a peasant.
Yes, it is. That's you
No,
and
it's
me.
not. A dependent means you're relying on somebody. Can you like what are you talking? Trey, can I
The
get a
peasant
definition?
relies
Let,
on the system.
in a
Can you look up
dictatorship,
the word?
who does the peasants rely on?
Yo, but they're not. That doesn't mean they're both the same. Trey,
Oh
when you're
my
talking to
God.
me, I'm gonna give you the definition. Can you give me the definition of dependent, and then give me the definition of a peasant? I'm so confused where he's going with that.
Okay.
But you don't
When
think
you
the peasants have to rely on the system that they're in to some degree to survive?
to all degree, they rely on them
Yeah.
for personal protection. First of all, that's the
Okay, so
main thing that.
if you say that, that's different. Okay, now let me ask you then. So how are they benefiting from the system? What is the system doing for them? That's my question.
In what system? Which
The
system?
dictatorship that we're talking about.
Yeah, a dictator provides a
Not
person.
cutting their head off and giving them some food to eat every day. Scraps.
They first of all he provides you and your family with sustenance to eat every
I
single
don't
day.
I don't know
Now wait,
Saddam
that's
Hussein to
number
do
one.
that.
Number two, yes, dictators feed the whole community. Number two is they provide your body with personal protection from other peasants. So if another peasant
Mm.
come and kill you, they gonna kill that other peasant to revenge you, so to prevent you, you know the situation. The same as today, bro. We are
Yeah,
dependent on.
discourage it. Yeah.
Listen, if somebody busts into your house right now, you're not gonna be like, I'm gonna fight to the death of my sovereignty. No, you're gonna pick up the phone and depend on Boys in Blue to get there and help you out. Because we
Yeah.
are fully dependent. Nobody in this system is independent. We are all mostly peasants.
Yeah, not only that, the money, man. The money itself in the system, the fiat currency or whatever,
what
that
is
we're
your
all dependent on
definition?
that.
What is your definition of peasantry?
A
I
peasant
think you're
is
misusing
someone
the
who
word peasant.
lives on the on the underside of a society where there is a higher class. So basically, 99% of people in our community or in our country are peasants, and 1% of our community, they are the elite or ruling class.
and that's the thing
Okay.
about anarcho-communism and communism in general. Really, if you actually look at like maybe not, and maybe this purest form of communism hasn't been practiced yet, but there is no class-based system within socialist communist governments, and that's I think that, and that's why we say on the left, you know, no war but class war. We're not going to fight your wars. We're not going to fight oligarchy wars. We're not going
But
to
see,
fight
the reason why
corporate
that's
wars.
wrong is because class is evident. It's not something that you
It's
can.
not. I mean, but why are we divided based on capital? Like, why are we divided
I
based on currency? Like that, because
Exactly.
that's
That's
the
what I'm
only
saying.
thing
We
that
should be divided based
separates.
on
I
natural
I
things.
stand with Polly on this one because it doesn't matter what the class is, there will always be a class to change to divide the people into. It doesn't matter if it's money,
But
there will
class is
always
based
be
off currency.
some.
So what if you had a stateless,
No, it's not
moneyless
based off of
society?
currency, bro. It's not based off of currency. Let me keep it real.
I mean,
But
Like,
it doesn't
see,
matter what it's based
I'll
on. The
give you an
people will
example.
always
I'll
be
give you an
put into
example.
classes.
Say
will
for
always be.
instance, just listen real quick. Say for instance, you're a poor person, like you poor as fuck, and then you have sex with another poor woman, and then y'all ugly poor niggas make this gorgeous, beautiful princess looking
Ugly
bad bitch.
poor niggas.
You immediately become more valuable. Like you got a
Dude, there's
daughter.
pretty poor people everywhere, bro. Like,
That's what I'm saying. Just beauty creates class. There are so many
but
things that create class
but
that
we're
are
talking about a
natural.
class-based system. Like, we're not talking
That's what I'm.
about class in the metaphorical, like philosophical sense. We're talking
Yeah,
about a
you're talking about
literal
the man-made
class-based.
class. Man-made
But
class
yeah,
is based off of how much money you got and
well,
how
the
much money
man-made
I got.
class-based, like we don't like we're not affected by somebody like somebody's beauty and their class and having more class
Yeah,
and people getting
yeah.
treated, but like
Somebody,
that
listen. I'm
doesn't
trying to tell
affect
you,
us.
people who are beautiful, they have privilege because of nature's class.
And even then, like that
Hmm.
is what society, like what does society
That
deem
is
beautiful though?
interesting.
Like what does society deem like? Because I mean, it used to be blonde hair, blue
Symmetry,
eyes.
He's
symmetry.
saying
No,
ideal to mate with
I
subconsciously.
mean,
No,
but I
no,
mean,
it's
yeah.
that used to
symmetry.
be blonde
Beauty
hair,
is
blue eyes. Remember that? You
No,
remember
it's
the
not
last
that.
people to
No,
say
they
blonde hair,
changed
blue
that,
eyes?
bro. Bro, listen, bro. You got to go with nature. Don't go with what they put on the media. In nature, what makes you more attractive is the
But
symmetry in
that's
your
all
face.
subjective, though.
My nigga, no, it's not.
We're talking
I'm trying
about
to tell you,
subjective.
no,
bro,
he's
it's
not.
not
You guys are
subjective.
both right. You guys are both
It's,
right, right?
oh my
But
God.
beauty doesn't necessarily change. What happens with beauty is it's universal, is what I should
Beauty
say.
doesn't give you $1 billion, is what I'm saying.
It can. And
No,
look,
no,
listen,
No,
no, it
listen to
it
doesn't.
me when I
don't.
It
tell you this.
can, but
It
it
can
doesn't.
definitely
It
give you $1
can, but
billion.
it doesn't.
It could be
Can, but it
commoditized.
doesn't.
I'm with Trey on this. It can be commoditized. Beauty is a big thing because it indicates genetics, and that's
Okay,
what
so is
people
that only
want to
women
procreate
then?
with.
What about men?
Yeah,
Can men
yeah,
Men
monetize
men
have
that?
it.
too. Men
It's
have
not
beauty
necessarily
privilege
beauty for
too.
men. It's not the same word, but it's more or less the same thing. Genetically, they're ideal to a woman
Bro, it's the
subconsciously to want to mate
exact
with.
same thing. It's
Okay.
like,
Do
watch
you see
this.
how
If
ugly these old rich
bro,
ass poor dudes
you're
are? I
not
mean,
hearing
these
me.
old rich ass dudes are. You see how ugly they are?
You're right. The socioeconomic can definitely factor in and overcome genetics.
Bro, y'all
Bro,
not
look
hearing
at
Definitely.
me. Y'all not hearing
I
me.
just want to say, just
Bro, I'm
like
just saying, bro.
you,
I'm talking about I mean, I'm not going philosophical and shit like that. I'm talking about a literal class-based system where we're divided. We are divided by the system in which we live in, the institution in which we live in. We are divided based on what is in our pocketbook, what's in our
Okay, are
wallet,
we divided by
what
more than
money.
just that?
Go.
we are divided by multiple things. We are divided by
Yeah, see, I'm
race.
saying we're divided by
Yeah.
nature anyways. So
I
listen,
think
just listen.
Corey's saying this is a very big variable in the cog
Yeah,
that's
it is.
being
It
used
is a very big
for negative
variable. They just
ends.
threw a
And
wrench in the game. But I'm trying to
yeah,
show you how it naturally works, and then their wrench that they threw in the game. You know what I'm saying? It
yeah,
naturally
got you.
works.
I think you guys are both we're both kind of coming to the same conclusions
And if
here.
we're
You
talking
guys
about
and
what's natural, like
Yeah,
natural
I think
is
Trey
opposing
and Corey.
violently. What's natural is violently opposing such a system that does force us into class-based systems, and that's what Karl Marx was saying in the
Hmm,
Communist Manifesto. Is that when you do engage in a proletariat revolution, it is a natural response and a natural reaction to fascism, to capitalism, to systems in which they force us into, whether it's class, race-based systems, class-based. I mean, just many different ways of marginalizing people who are not in America, in the colonialist Western side of the world. You have to be a conservative Christian to be in that elite establishment class. You can't
that's
be
so
true.
anything else.
Corey,
Nah,
how
I
does
don't think that's
communism
true, bro.
No, he's
That's
real
not
quick?
that is a
true.
How does
fact.
communism
That is a
stop the
fact.
class system from occurring? Because
You can't.
classes and hierarchies hierarchies are natural in nature, from what I understand. So how does that prevent it? Because that seems like that's quite the promise to
I
say
mean,
that they
why are
can
we
do that.
talking about was like why do people say hierarchy is natural when we only see what America imperialism has done and what it
No, no,
and
I'm
what
talking about
we
in nature, like
No,
literally,
bro.
Hierarchy
literally
is
shrimp
No,
and
nature.
we
stuff.
know, bro.
Old ancient shrimp and
Hierarchy is
stuff.
nature.
They developed their own hierarchies of competence and dominance and stuff.
I
So
mean, but
Animals
so
have
what
hierarchy.
does okay, tell me what does a revolution against the upper elite class, the capitalist ruling class, like what does that revolution look
Yeah,
like? It would look like the common people who have been exploited and
you
marginalized
understand?
taking up arms and going to war with the upper class. That is what we call class warfare.
I'm outside, so I don't see you.
yo,
That is what
whoever's
class
talking, can you
warfare is.
mute for a second?
Class warfare is when the poor classes, the working class people, the marginalized proletariat who have been
Fish is
exploited
nice.
for their labor, when they unionize and when you see general strikes, I mean, I'm sure y'all know that unions are a leftist ideology. Also, it derives from socialist school of thought. Like
Yes, it does.
like that's why America is so against unions. Like they're anti-union. Elon Musk just
That's you
got
right
in
there.
trouble for union busting. So
Yeah, no, I'm following you, bro. And honestly, I'm asking to try to truly understand the model better.
That ain't even you right now.
Here's the other thing that I'm concerned about. Jordan Peterson, I may have mentioned this to you yesterday, but he says equal opportunity, everybody having the same opportunity, is not only desirable in a society, it's only common sense and seems like to have obvious
but you know
morals.
what that would require? You would have to take
But
away the inheritance money of every trust fund baby.
well, hear me out. I'm not going
No,
there.
no,
I'm
no,
just
no.
saying.
That's not what
There's a
opportunity
second.
is.
There's a follow up to this. So equal opportunities, we should have that for everybody. But ensuring equal outcome is not only impossible, it's actually undesirable because there's no way to determine what everybody else wants.
And
Everybody wants different things and stuff.
that's the cop out though, isn't it? Like the pursuit of happiness. Like this country only promises you the pursuit of happiness.
I guess I'm just wondering who's determining what it's basically freedom versus security. That's how I'm looking at these. And maybe I'm wrong, but like in a place like where you're free of having a communist government to take care of the people and whatnot, the stability and the insurance and all that. Well, you're free to go out there and make your own and do great things, but you're also free to fucking die cold, alone, and miserable in the elements, and nobody's gonna care or fucking keep you. Whereas in communism, there is the whole society is looked after more or less. But I'm trying to better understand who's determining what's best for the whole of society and what everybody in society must follow to the letter. And that seems like it gets real dicey for me when it comes to like personal liberties versus that kind of thing. If I'm making sense.
Everything would derive back into the community because when you look at it, that's what communism is. Everything operates based on a community level. Like if you looked at community policing, you would see people in the police department resemble and live with those in the community in which they live. You'll have to, everybody will know you. Like, studies have shown when you derive everything, when you bring everything back to, a community-based level and not a state-based or a federal-based level like we see today, like you have communities that would otherwise operate well, such as project housing and urban communities that would operate very well if it wasn't, controlled on a state-based level or a federal-based level, like whether it's federal income housing, whether it's state income housing, whether it's, so you see when you privatize, and that's the ultimate goal of the average American capitalist is to privatize everything from healthcare to education to that's what this move to push charter schools is a way to privatize education, and it's going to make public funding, your tax money, go to funding private schools. Like, so you got private prisons that come out of this. You have private corporations.
I can see how it just becomes rampant with fraud.
At some point, your local hospital is going to stay without any government regulation at all. Is going to start being ran like a McDonald's.
Yeah, bro. I'm not trying to uphold capitalism or anything like that. By the way, when I ask these questions, I'm genuinely trying to figure out is there some merit to communism that I've just not yet. These are just questions I have.
There's only two options, really. Like when you think about who has the control of the gut, is it the people with the money, or is it the people who put in the labor and the
right? I'm just wondering how do we ensure the people that put in the money and the labor and all that are they want to maintain it? Because
two big solutions would be redistribution of wealth and salary caps on all CEOs.
But wouldn't somebody always be overseeing all that and be able to corrupt it all and be the power class?
Yeah, when you see how the rich people and the greedy people in Europe when they, I don't know if you paid attention to the Yellow Vest protests a few years back and a lot of the uprisings, like if you look at the streets in Europe when the capitalist ruling class over there even attempts to implement anything that harms the working class people, the streets are filled with fucking riots. Like it's riots left and right.
Okay. So the people regulate the people that might be trying to take the power.
Violently, and that's what unions were made for. It was to violently oppose harsh working conditions that were being inflicted by the ruling class. That's why unions even came about. Like they're putting in putting in their time and and exploiting their bodies for, you know, to barely get by in a system that the person that they're making money for is going and buying yachts, going and being, you know, members of the most elite country clubs
Yeah,
and
bro, it's
doing all
egregious.
this.
No,
So
it's egregious. I couldn't agree more. There's a lot of merit to trying to just level the fairness out there, and that's what I was bringing up with the equal opportunity thing versus the assuring equal outcome. That to me was a really compelling philosophical argument in that, yeah, everybody should have an equal opportunity, but how do we go about determining what the equal outcome is going to be for a society at large? Because that seems really hard to do for me.
and then here's the thing: what is the outcome? So if you get $1 million, let's say you got $1 million, is that, would that be the outcome in which you like? What if that wasn't enough for you? You know, what if $1 million just wasn't enough? What if you had to have five? And then
Right. Well, everybody's going to have a different level, and that's why we got to leave it to the
yeah,
individuals
but
to kind
and
of
that's what
determine
I'm
that.
saying.
Right.
Like, and to each according to his means is the basic philosophy of Karl Marx and Marxism, is to each according to their needs, to each according to their ability. So if you put in labor, you know, you should absolutely reap just as much, if not more, benefits than the person who puts in zero labor. But we see people that if you go work at any corporate business, any business you want to work for, and you see the owners of that business or the shareholders or the trustees or the board members, those people do not put in labor. Okay, they might know
Right.
how to write on paper. They might
No, they put
know
in
how to
money.
read better. They might
They
be more
manipulate
literate.
people to putting in labor. That's
Yeah.
their job.
But here's the thing: you might be more literate. You might have came from an Ivy League school. You might have done 8 years doing med school and shit like that. But that's still not putting in physical labor that
You're
you
not
see.
producing anything. You're not
Yeah,
producing anything
you're
but other
not.
people who are producing things.
Just like landlords, and that's why we say
I'm following, bro.
landlords. I think landlords are
Yeah, but
parasites because
you're producing the capital.
Exactly. I think that's what Corey is kind of opposed to. The
yeah, I'm
capital is
opposed.
what's
Yeah,
pulls the purse
you
strings.
should producing goods to provide the resource to the people in which who is doing the working. Like I mean, I think the working class people are the biggest consumers, right? Like they do the most consuming. So I mean, even if you
So,
and here's the thing, even if you
so
gave
you
more
disagree
money,
with the fact?
go ahead. Disagree with what?
No, sorry. No, sorry.
No, I was
I'm
just
just
saying if you
listening.
give
So you
if you
disagree?
give the working class people more money, that's more money for them to stimulate the economy and buy things into the economy. They're not going to pawn shops. They're not going and buying things like used on eBay. Like you're
Yes.
actually
It'll boom. It'll
yeah.
self-perpetuate and
But
expand. I see
so
what
there's
in theory.
obviously another mechanism that exists that makes it more beneficial to the ruling class to make sure that these people can't participate in the economy. That's
So
the
you
evil part of it.
disagree? So you disagree with the fact that you keep what you earn?
Keep what you earn. Yeah, I mean, I think the labor theory of value, I think you should keep everything that you earn through your labor. Yeah, absolutely. But
So
I mean,
what's
you live in a system where single parents can work 2-3 jobs and still barely keep the lights on. So I
What
mean, it
about the
comes
bum
down
who
to it.
chooses
You're
not
not
to
they
work?
getting
Do they get
paid.
taken care of in the communist society?
You're,
Somebody who chooses
and
not to work, do they get taken care of still? Or
yeah,
are they left to
absolutely.
dry?
Because I mean, you have the
Really?
capability of doing so, and I don't see why, you know, we need to punish people for not. Because here's the thing: if you want to go
they're
back
not
to
contributing?
nature, and I know he was talking about nature big time. Nature work is not even the goal when you live on this earth. Work was
But bro,
something that was
so I could
created.
choose to just be a bum and like be like, I'm fully capable, healthy, and all that, and I could work, but I just am gonna be lazy
But
and
why do
not,
we
and I'll
not
still
say
be taken
that?
care of.
Why do we not say that to these trust fund babies who inherit
No, I'm
their
just asking,
mommy
bro.
and
I'm just
daddy's
asking.
money? They never
I'm just
work.
trying to understand. Is that like what's
Yeah,
happening
but
in the
But do
system?
you
they do
understand?
work.
But why is
They
bums
do work.
only
They just don't
applied
do
to
hard
poor
work.
people?
Okay,
Like
I
rich
don't mean
people
bums
don't work at
necessarily, but I
all
just
either.
mean if I choose to do nothing productive labor wise, will I still be like taken care of in society and
Yeah,
kept
you should
alive,
be given the basic necessities to survive. Yes, absolutely.
even if I don't do anything
You shouldn't have to.
to
No,
prove worthy of that?
no. But
Interesting.
but do you even see the thought process of a government deeming you worthy
No,
of
I'm following you,
living?
bro, and I'm not saying the government
Like,
deems me
because here's
worthy.
the
I'm
I
just
thing though,
wanna,
saying,
I
like
wanna,
we're
I
basically
wanna jump
saying
in here though.
someone who doesn't work shouldn't survive. Like, and then on top of that, the craziest
No,
thing
that is
is,
not
and I know you're
what's
not a
said right there.
Christian, but it's Christians who say that the most. Like they read from a book that says the exact opposite, that you should absolutely shelter someone who needs shelter. And then they'll literally say, hey, maybe they should just go without food and shelter if they don't want to work. Like, I mean, work
But
for
do I
who?
keep giving him my fish, or do I teach him how to fish, and he should be expected to start doing that on his own at
Give
some
them
point, so I
some
don't have to
fish.
do it
If you
for
got
him?
some fish, give them some fish. Like, I'm not
No, I
gonna.
hear you, but I'm saying, how long do I have to fish for him until he should be expected to do it for himself, so I don't have to do it for him
I mean,
anymore?
but who is the benefit for?
So
Like, what do you like when I help
I'm trying to.
people, for example? When I help people, I do it for the benefit of me. I don't look at it as I'm going to expect something from this dude one day. Like,
Go ahead,
But
Rico.
I don't do anything in expectations of somebody doing for me. And here's
okay,
the
I feel
thing.
that.
So if they're working, are
I
they
just want to
working to
jump in
make
quick.
me money? Or is it going to benefit you individually if this person goes and works, or is it going to benefit somebody who's already rich and got money and is
Go ahead,
exploiting this
Rico.
dude's labor?
Okay, so okay, I understand where you're coming from, right? I do. But my thing is, I'm gonna make a statement and then I'm gonna ask you a question because for me, we have the opportunity to go out there and literally to be a part of the classes we choose, depending on the type of work we put ourselves into, type of work we put in, right?
So we all start
So
at zero.
no, we don't all start at zero.
Okay,
That's
so
not
you're
not
born into
that's
this. You're born into a class. You don't get to choose which class. You're born into it.
well, but you also have an opportunity to pick which class you're going to be in.
Okay,
You
so it's
really
way
do.
harder for people like somebody like me whose parents were almost middle class. We're just below middle class. It would be easier for
Yeah,
me to reach the middle class or the upper class. But somebody who is born into a foster care system where
I'm
they're
not
going to
saying it's
be.
easy.
I mean,
And this is the crux of the matter as I see it that I'm trying to understand.
but
How
do you
does
see do
communism
you see the
determine that?
problem with a class based system? Like the fact you even
I
acknowledge
do, but
that
I,
that's fucked up is that
Corey, I'm following.
yeah,
I do
I
see the
don't think
problem,
it's fucked up. I think if your
I think the
family puts
problem.
in the work and you are able to take care of your family and your family's taken care of, I don't think that
that's
should be the basis of
that's how it should
conversation to
be.
why
That's how it
to
should be,
why
but that's
to
not
why
how it
I
is here.
hold on. But hold on. I don't think the basis as to why this kid's not gonna work because his father and his grandfather or whatever the case is put in all this time and effort and money into making sure that he doesn't have to work hard like them and why I grew up poor. That's not an excuse as to why I grew up poor, even though I am black and we fight for reparations and all these things. No, brother. I feel like this. I know I came from a poor place, of poverty, poor, not even almost middle class. But I understand the society we live in, and I still have opportunity to go do what I have to do. I can work 3 jobs, or I can put time and effort so I
Do
don't
you understand
have
that
to
there's a
work three
system
jobs.
that exists that is designed to make sure that people remain in a working lower class system to keep
Education,
feeding
it's built that way.
that's like so here's my question. Do you think that the system is built to be able to allow everyone who is in poverty to come out of poverty, that
That's
everybody can
impossible.
make it?
No society can do that.
Okay,
It's
but do you
impossible.
understand that so you agree then that there should be a society that at least at the bare minimum provides the basic necessities for survival, whether it's shelter, whether it's medicine, healthcare, like that should be the basic.
I wouldn't be opposed to that. I wouldn't be opposed to that for sure.
Yeah, but
Okay,
that seems idealistic to me, and my question is, and I'm genuinely asking, how do we have such trust in the central government to come up with a solution for everybody, a blanket solution that we all are going to be expected
Yeah,
to follow
that's
to, and be provided
well,
for by that system without any hiccups?
well here's the
That's what
thing:
I'm
we
and
worried
that's
live in
about. I
a
don't
exactly
ever
and
see it
that's why I
happen
say I'm not
realistically.
opposed to it, but it's not realistic because think about what we're saying. Everyone gets shelter. Everyone, come on, like those. That's expensive first and foremost. So let me ask you, who's gonna
And it
pay for it?
But
decentivizes
here's the
people from
thing: do we
working.
have the capability? Is the question? Is it a
Of course,
possibility to do
The
it?
amount of money that goes through America, you definitely have the capability.
Okay, so
Come on,
you definitely have the
Mm,
capability. So what is preventing that from happening?
Well, the devil's advocate
capitalism.
argument would be that the money that goes through America is created through capitalism, which is motivated by incentives to work. And this system almost sounds like it could possibly run the risk of decentivizing people to work because they don't have to do anything to be taken care of for.
Yeah, education builds workers.
I mean, you have even people who have money who still work. So people who want to work are going to work, and people who don't
Right.
want to work aren't going to
But it's
work.
not incentivized by, like, in capitalism, even though it's brutal and whatnot. Hey, if you don't fucking earn, you die. You
Well,
starve.
that, I mean, look
So
at what's
people
happening
work.
right now. People are starving, and they're putting in all
And
kinds
I'm
of
not
hours.
saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying this is the reason there's so much wealth the devil's advocate would argue, is because there's a lot created by the system of capitalism, which is a desperation climb to the top. It's cutthroat, it's brutal, it's gross. I'm not necessarily promoting it, but that would be their argument why there's so much wealth here, and that's why a communist system might lack it, because there is no incentive for that kind of work.
And here's the thing,
and there's actually disincentives.
The colonizers who came over here and established a system of government, they've had a 300 to 400 year head start on hoarding and obtaining and
I
with
agree
all
with
the
all that,
wealth,
bro.
all the
Yeah.
capital, all of their social status, like you had white families be able to do that. And we're just entering a phase in the last 80 years or 60 to 80 years where black and brown folks have been able to just now vote, and still then it's a problem because I mean history is being written as we speak. So I mean we're still in a time period where we're just one generation, two generations into a whole demographic of people, a whole race of people, just now being able to establish wealth and establish some form of influence. And there's still no representation. If you look at and this is what I was going to say when it comes to a representative democracy and a direct democracy, and this is why you have so much distrust with the American government, is because in a representative democracy, you were voting for the person who had the most money in their campaign. You're not voting for someone because of their ideas. You're not voting for someone because they're smart. You're not voting for someone because they you're not voting because they have great innovation. You're voting for them based on which establishment put the money behind their campaign. Which one did you see the most on TV? Which one who had the most signs? Who's going to benefit the establishment more? That's who you're going to be. Those are the choices you're going to have. In a direct democracy, you vote for those things that those representatives would have went and voted for. There would be a referendum for everything that was ever passed that you, as an individual, you have the direct democratic power, to cast that vote instead of a representative, because that's all we're doing. You're electing someone to go then pass things that you could have signed and passed yourself or voted against yourself.
Yo, I want to say this too, guys. I've been listening this whole time, bro. And yo, Corey, I could talk to you all day, bro.
Hell yeah.
Like you talk at my level.
Hell yeah.
And not saying that Rico and Nick don't, but I'm not used to having like all of us on here like this. This is a dope live, bro.
Yeah, I love this shit. I just started doing this shit like 2 months ago. I ain't gonna lie.
Yo, us four, we should start something, bro.
Yeah, I'm down, dude. I've been trying to put a podcast together, man. I just don't have the resources. But
I'm done.
Facts. Hey, where are you located, bro?
I'm in East Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, in Tennessee. Where? And then Nick, you in Canada, right? Nick. Oh, he not listening.
He probably taking the shit.
No, I didn't realize I was on
Rico.
mute. My bad. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, born and raised.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, he's in Penn, and then Rico's in Canada. Okay, and then I'm in Virginia.
Hell yeah.
Nice. I got friends in Virginia.
Yeah, let's do it.
But like,
Let's do it for real.
Agreeing with so much that all three of y'all was saying, bro. Even the questions was good.
Trey, I agree, man. I'm really grateful for this kind of shit. Everybody in the comments, all three of you joining me. I just met Rico, but I can already tell he's a very smart dude. More than that, though, he's thoughtful, he's caring and shit, and that's what I'd say the same is about you two. And I appreciate y'all, man.
Rico
No
is
homo,
charismatic.
no homo, ladies.
That's
by
the
the way,
word to use for Rico.
no homo.
Rico is charismatic, bro.
Yeah, I like Rico. He's pretty cool.
Rico would make somebody yell at him.
Damn.
No lies detected.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, though, I totally agree though with Corey, man. Like as far as, well, I agree somewhat. As far as communism being better for the people, it is. Capitalism is better for the means of production. Like it actually forces people to produce. Whereas in socialism, they can just choose to breed. But I say that either way is lacking of what we actually need you know, that resonates with us in our souls,
Mm-hmm.
and that is what we used to have is nature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Trey, you make a compelling argument, I gotta say, bro. I'm really following where you're going with that.
I think you should really look up the philosophy of anarcho-primitive. Like, I think it's
I was,
it's very
I'm gonna look it up right
yeah,
now.
it
I
goes
was,
pretty deep, and I think you touched on a lot of different things that leads me to believe that you probably, you know, are from that school of thought. Because I mean, here's the thing, I would always have these ideas like when I first started getting real political, like about 10 years ago. I started having all these ideas, and then I would start finding out that there was an actual term for these ideas that I had, and
yeah, yeah.
that's what helped me start learning more about anti-fascism. Because there's the thing, if you go and you research right now on Google Antifa, you're going to get hit with nothing but propaganda, which is going to be mainly geared towards being anti-Antifa. But if you go in and you type in anti-fascist, it'll send you
It's
deeper into the history of anti-fascism and what
all right.
it looks
Can I
like.
speak on
Hold on,
anarcho
Trey. I just wanted to
primitivism?
ask you guys a question, you two, because I was gonna ask him before you went there, but now because you agreed with him, I want to ask both of you. Can you guys tell
Mhm.
me a communist society where the people are like for communism, like that's what they want, that's what they love, that's what they like?
China,
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
China.
I
yeah.
don't know.
Cuba.
I don't know. I don't know about that one either. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Every time that it's attempted, you have America goes and sends a military coup in and completely destroys the whole thing. So
That's
when
true.
there
That's
is
true.
a big push, like even Egypt, like the revolution in Egypt back in I think it was like 2000 and fuck, I can't remember. It was in the square, the TNT, the fuck,
Team, yeah.
I can't remember the square that it was, but where the Egyptian civil war basically kicked off. Like, you had a lot of people. Anytime there's a huge gathering of people who are anti-government and they're fighting the government, like those are mainly people who are common. You know, you're not seeing rich bourgeois people, you know, partaking in revolutions against the government. It's mainly the common, like, because mainly governments don't really they're not really tyrannical over the rich, if you know what I mean. There's no
No, the
rich.
rich are tyrannical over the
Yeah,
government.
yeah. There's no government in which the rich are just completely being oppressed. You know what I
Anybody
mean?
with the wealth, with the resources and whatnot, can
Right.
influence, if not control, take over government.
Right. And here's the thing. So when you have common people and common
Yeah,
working
I want.
class people going to overthrow or going to, you know, engage in general strikes or whatever you have it, like engaged in armed rebellion, like,
Revolt.
yeah, it's always
Yo, sorry
been.
guys. I actually ran over my time. I actually have to go, so I didn't realize it was this time.
Rico's going to his bitch. He's getting some pussy. Who we
Go
kidding?
get it.
No, no,
Enjoy
no, no, no,
yourself,
no, no.
bro.
Sometimes. Peace out, peace out, peace out.
Nice meeting you, man. Hey, follow me so I can follow you back, buddy.
I've been following you on all my accounts.
You the man. You the man.
Yeah.
He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
Hey, this is a question I have for you, though, Court. Tell me if I might be misinformed on this, but I've read it from a few different seemingly trustworthy accounts that Lenin's revolution was very much funded, financed, and potentially even conceptualized by Zionist bankers.
Where I would have to get a.
Hey, you're
I've
right,
never heard
Megatron.
that.
So see, here's what I'm saying. I'm inherently skeptical about capitalism. I know I see all the atrocities that you're naming and everything about it. I couldn't agree with you more. I'm not defending it at all.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yo,
also an
let
inherent
Johnny up.
skeptic about communism too. I don't necessarily trust the motives behind that or how it's going to be pulled off in real world. And I'm not saying that I'm against it. I'm just like I have a lot of questions. That's all. So I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, I want to say something about anarcho primitivism because he spoke on that, and also let Johnny up too.
Nah, man. Me and Johnny,
But
I'm not cool with Johnny. I just gotta say I'm not cool
are
with
you
him.
not cool with Johnny?
Nah, I'll leave it at that.
Oh, I ain't got nothing to do with that. All right, but look, anarcho primitivism is an anarchist critique of civilization that advocates a return to non-civilized ways of life. So watch this. That has a preconceived notion that's incorrect. Because they said it advertised a return to non-civilized ways, and that's actually not. And we're in non-civilized ways now. We were civilized.
Oh, So could you like almost word that the other way and it would work then? You see what I mean? Like a uncivilized
Yeah,
society returning to a civilized one or whatever?
yeah, basically, yeah.
Reverse it.
That's basically what it with this anarcho-primitivism is inherently not what I'm talking about because it perceives the prior world to be non-civilized.
Barbaric and all that. Yeah, uncivilized.
No,
Yeah.
don't you think the Dark
Yeah,
Ages were
and
pretty
so
barbaric?
Well, Trey's saying
in
no,
the
it was
Eastern
more
Hemisphere,
more structured back then. It was more
No, the
natural and
Dark
it was
no,
Ages
no,
were
no,
more
no. Listen,
structured.
listen. In the
prior,
Eastern
not
history,
the Dark
listen.
Ages, not prior to that. He's saying way back at the
All
beginning. I'm
right,
not
watch
saying
this.
that.
Where did the Dark Ages happen?
The Dark Ages? Shit,
Yeah,
you're
what
talking
like the
1200s
about
maybe,
Middle
I think.
Ages and all that shit. Where did that happen at, bro?
1200s maybe, I think is what they say.
no hell
No, I
no.
didn't
Dark
say
Ages
when.
way
I
Oh,
said
before
where?
that.
where.
You're England. Yeah, you're right. Eastern. Yeah.
Like it didn't happen here. We
Eastern
never went
Hemisphere,
here.
not here.
Well, the Crusades were
Yeah.
happening during the
Yeah.
same time as the Dark Ages, but I mean, then you had the Crusades, which
Crusades,
is basically
they weren't
what
in the Western.
forced everything west. So yeah, while you're saying there was nothing
Huh.
that existed here, everything was forced west, and that's
But
what.
those were people
Yeah, not
fleeing
everything.
tyranny.
Just Sephardic Jews and Moors were forced to leave because of oppression,
Mm,
being Christian or Catholic. Excuse me, guys.
mm.
Trey, can you give us a quick synopsis of your uh, proposed theory on like the actual origin of people or whatever not being from out of Africa? I found that fascinating,
Okay,
bro.
so yeah, I found. I mean, I kind of found it out because I realized that you needed corn in order to be a civilized community. Because without corn, corn is first of all unnatural. We don't even know where it comes from. They say that they got it from God, but it grows 3 times a year, and it grows in conditions where you don't really have to even plant it. You just put the fucking kernel in there, and it go bang. And that's why you see these cornfields with mad corn. You'll see other plants, like say it's a fucking potato field or something. Yeah, it'll be a lot of potatoes, but no, not like the corn.
Corn's
The
like a
corn
weed,
goes
but it's
side
a
by
good thing.
side, back to back, and it'd be multiple corns on these stalks, and that's what we survived off of: corn, beans, and squash. But during certain times of the year when it got hard, we fasted, we prayed, and sometimes we killed a lamb or a piece of buffalo or something and ate it. But we prayed over it, and it was a religious type of thing rather than some carnal type of thing that they do today. Damn, I forget what the original question was.
Well,
I
yeah,
got
Trey.
so far from it.
So
Oh,
this how do people come? You basically, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you proposed that people through the sudden discovery of corn were able to no longer have to just be surviving like cutthroat out there, and they were able to become more
yeah, they
evolved,
can
and
make
that's why we expanded from
mathematics,
there out to Eastern.
language,
So
and
we
art
exported
and
out from
stuff
the
like that.
West, human society to the East and whatnot. Like we expanded out from the Western culture, right? Not the Eastern world.
Yeah, here's how you know. So the symbol of what's the word I'm looking for? Like a God symbol. The symbol for a lot of the gods, or not, how do I say it? Not the symbol for a lot of the gods, but like it's a symbol. It's corn. It's actually corn.
Hmm.
And if you go to Egypt or the Vatican, you can go to the Vatican too. It'll have a big ass statue of a piece of corn.
You're right about
Did
Egypt.
y'all notice?
They have hieroglyphs in Egypt of corn all the time. You're right. I've seen that.
Yeah, but corn doesn't grow in Egypt.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
Well,
That's a
it
very
does grow in
weird
Egypt,
anomaly.
but it had to be brought over from here, where it was original.
Yeah, that corroborates your theory, man. A lot. Again, when you
You're
told me this the
muted,
first
Corey.
time, dude, I was really compelled by it.
Corey, I want to know what you think about that. You're muted, bro.
Oh, hey, what's up, bro? My bad. What was the last thing that was just said?
Did you hear Trey's
I want
theory
to
at
know
all?
what you
How do you
think
feel about it?
Yeah.
The theory of, say it again.
Instead of out of Africa, it's out of America.
Oh yeah,
Of
the
humanity.
corn. Yeah.
Corn, yeah.
I think I heard Deontay speaking on that same thing. I meant to go look into it.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think I heard. I think it was like a week ago. I heard him talking about that. But no, I was also going to say, you know, like when you look back at a time period, like when I think what he's calling a civilized society, the problem is that, you know, men back then or people back then, when they seen, well, let's say like a tornado, or they seen a big storm coming, or a tsunami, or any natural disaster, you know, there was no understanding of it. So when people say civilized, I think say civilized, we're more understanding of how things function and work. I think when you have modern medicine, when you have modern science, that kind of breaks through certain things that people back then didn't understand. I think that's when, you know, we're